Hello everyone and welcome back to Hockey Talk. I'm your host Jack Brooks and today I will be talking about my prediction for last place in the Central Division. So one more thing before we get started, I know I didn't do a bold prediction last episode, so that means that I would do one this episode, but I'm going to hold off the bold prediction until tomorrow because I don't know if you guys heard about this, but there's some news about Tom Wilson. So I'm just going to be recapping that. And don't worry, I'll do a bold prediction tomorrow. So without further ado, let's get started into this podcast. So my prediction for last place in the Central Division is none other than the Chicago Blackhawks, and here's why. Now, look, their offense needs a lot of work. They just are unable to really be aware of what they need to do on offense. We saw last season where they finished in last place, and why I'm saying they'll go back is mainly because of their offense. If you watched them last season, they have a lot of really young stars on this team, although these young players that they keep on bringing up or that they drafted, to me, aren't ready for big league hockey, and they just don't. They're unaware of what they need to do to get the puck in the back of the net. They're unaware of situations with the young talent on this team. It's just they don't have a lot of chemistry. That this was proven last season, and to me, I just don't see them really getting back the chemistry. You're really focusing on being more aware in certain situations. So to me, this offense just needs a lot of work, and I don't see them winning a lot of games with this kind of miscommunication. And also, not only will they go back-to-back last place due to offense, which to me will be the main reason, but to me, they will go back-to-back in last place also on defense, because going back to the young players on this team, to me, they need to stop bringing people up, stop bringing these kids up from minors. They need to focus on their main starters. The coach and I'm not blaming this entirely on the coaches. This is definitely mostly the players' fault, but the coaches really need to teach these kids, or these guys lack, just communication overall on defense. If any opponent is driving and strong, they do not know what the certain situation is. They are unable to really figure out who needs to guard who needs to cover what spot of the ice. This defense, if anyone is trying to charge in, and I know that's a basketball reference, but if you're driving in with the puck, that also counts as hockey. Whenever an opponent is trying to drive in, no matter what, to me, it is going to be a goal because they don't know where they need to cover on the ice. So, yes, this offense for me mainly needs work, but this defense still does need work. Going back to the chemistry, I know young team, they won't have a lot of chemistry, also proven from last season, and to me, after watching them during the off season, I just don't see it really improving, and I really think, honestly, that they still won't have enough chemistry to improve their team from last season. And now, the Hawks showed last season that they cannot really make any comebacks. Like, if they're down in the division, obviously, seen from last season, can't really help themselves out of making a comeback. Whenever they get down in a game, first or I don't care what period it is, if they're down in a game, they are going to give up because they know that they have way too young of a team. Like I've said many times, They don't know how to guard the opponent whenever they have the puck. They don't know who needs to shoot it and who is open for an easy pass. To me, if they're losing a game, then they will not be able to come back. Once again, proven from last season, they can just not make comebacks. I don't care if it's 1 goal or 5 goals. If they're losing, then to me, that is game over. Total lack of awareness. Way too young of a team for me to say really anything good about them. I just do not see this team for the second season in a row not being in last place and still making comebacks. I don't see them making any comebacks this season. I just really, really feel that this team is really, really unaware, and I just, once again, don't see them really helping themselves in this season. And now, to me, the Dallas Stars, a lot of you might be thinking, well, what about the Dallas Stars? They came in second to last place for the Blackhawks. That was kind of close. To me, the Stars will, after watching them in the offseason, I really feel that the Stars will be better than the Hawks. I'm not saying that the Dallas Stars are going to, just come out of nowhere, shock the NHL, and be good. No. To me, they're still going to suck. But this Dallas Stars team, they don't have a strong defense, obviously, from watching them in the offseason. And if you watched one Star game last season, then you would agree with me. But they can really they're better than the Blackhawks. Their defense actually is a little more aware, not totally aware, but if someone is driving in with a puck, if someone is trying to get a one-timer on them, they can be more aware in that situation. To me, that's going to help them out this season. Once again, not saying they're going to be good. It's just they will not be in last place because of their defensive chemistry that they have. This isn't as young of a team as the Blackhawks. I really see the Dallas Stars as once again edging out the Blackhawks. This defense is really aware, and not just the defense. Like I said, this team has chemistry with the offense. Sure, that still definitely needs some work, but at least they have chemistry, unlike the Blackhawks. That's just my opinion on this. And one more thing that the Blackhawks need to work on, the power plays. They are fouling way too much. They keep on getting in power play situations where they don't have the power play. They're down a man, and to me, that's definitely beyond their offense. This is the thing that needs the most work for Chicago. The power plays that they are getting are just unacceptable. They should not be getting this many fouls. To me, they really, really need to work on this. Once again, going back to being more aware, they need to be more aware of what they need to do to get the puck, but yet still don't trip anyone, high stick them. They just really need to be, and yes, I know it's a young team, but they definitely need to be more aware of where they're skating on the ice and what they're doing with their stick, because honestly, tripping and high sticking, that's definitely what they're having the most trouble on. So to me, they really, 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 really need to work on that. So that is definitely why I think the Blackhawks are going to come in dead last place in the Central. And now, as promised for this episode, I will not do a bold prediction, but instead will focus on Tom Wilson. So if you don't know, Tom Wilson he's a Washington Capitals player. Tom Wilson got suspended 20 games after running afoul of the NHL safety department of player safety 4 times in 105 games. If you don't know what that means he has gotten way too many minors, way too many hits to the head 4 times in 105 games. That's going to get you suspended by the NHL player safety department. So the 4th time, which is why he's suspended now, happened earlier this week where he hit the head of Oskar Sundqvist. I believe that's how you pronounce his last name, Sundqvist. Sundqvist in the Sundqvist. I can't pronounce it. I'm really bad at pronouncing last names. So he hit him. He hit him in the head in the preseason final last Sunday, and to me, this is definitely the right move by the NHL because once again, it's the 4th time in 105 games that the player safety department had to call him out on stuff like this. This hit in the head, if you watch the game or if you've seen it online, it is just absolutely unnecessary. He had just letting go of the puck as Wilson drove and then just whammed him in the head. He was down. He didn't move for a while. Obviously, his St. Louis Blues teammates, Tom Wilson is a capital, and the guy that got hit was obviously a St. Louis Blue. So his teammates definitely retaliated, and to me, that's the right move by them. But he didn't have the puck. It was a hit to the head, which I know hockey is a rough and physical sport, but this doesn't definitely not belong to hockey. It belong in hockey. Obviously, you should never do stuff like this. Of course, this was totally unnecessary, and the suspension for 20 games, I definitely agree with, because usually I would be saying this is a 15 or so games suspension for the unnecessary hit in the head, but since this is the 4th violation in the player safety department's little rule book, obviously that's going to be more than 15 games. 20 games for me was the right call, and if you haven't watched it, please go online and search Tom Wilson suspension. There should be a video of him hitting the head of Sundqvist, and it's really unnecessary. I guarantee you, if you watch it, you would agree with me. So definitely suspended 20 games. I totally agree with it. By now, it's 19 games because they've played 1 game this season, but definitely the right call by the safety department of the NHL and the NHL overall on the suspension. So that will do it for this episode. Please leave a like, comment down below who you think will be in last place in the Central and how many games you think Tom Wilson should really be suspended for. And until next time, I'm Jack Brooks signing off for now here on Hockey Talk.